This is Health Skill Podcast. We are leveling up your health skill. My name is Marcel. Welcome. And today it's my pleasure to introduce to you Martin Graf. He's a learned chef. He studied and is now a social worker. He's a father of 3 children that you raise, and these 3 children you raise together with a lesbian couple. And my English is not that good, so I just say it the way how I say it. He's into same-sex partnerships, or he's in that direction, and he loves to dance. That's amazing.
Yeah,
So how are you doing, Martin, today? How are you doing?
I'm fine. Love to be connected with you here.
Cool.
And it's also for me a challenging moment to talk in English with you.
Okay.
But together we will find the words, no?
Of course, we are honoring really that, and I'm very excited to have you today here. And right now, I like to as we are in this nervous state together right now a little bit, maybe, I'd like to invite you to this centering practice. I started doing this last week together with Jody, and we did it last time, the first time. This is the second time right now. And I invite you to come to a great sit, feel tall from your hips to your head, and feel rooted with your feet into the floor. And everybody that is listening in here right now, you can also close your eyes if you wish and do the same. So feel connected with your feet to the floor. Feel grounded. And from there, get long from your hips to your head. Breathe in deep into the belly, into the chest. And really know that there are 2 people talking to each other right now, 2 bodies speaking with each other. And of course, many people, many bodies listening in to this conversation. And one more deep breath, and then slowly come out of it again. Great. Good. Just to calm ourselves and prepare for what is coming up right now. So I'm very excited to have you today, Martin. And I'd like to learn a little bit more about you beforehand, before we go into the questions about man circles. Can you tell us a little bit more about your journey into coming to lead and coming to build up these man circles as your creator of man circles? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Actually, I have to go back quite a bit. Like
Yeah.
you introduced me with being a gay man and having kids
Yeah.
right now. So I have grown up in Thurgau in a little village.
Yeah.
And I felt that very early that there's something different between me and the others, but I didn't really get what it was. So I had to leave my little village to become aware that I am a gay man. And
Okay.
that was only because of there have been no other people around where I could find my identity
Yeah.
as a gay man. There have been some perverts in the city, or some jokes about gay people, but there have been no role models for me
Yeah.
to find figure out who I really am and who I want to be.
Yeah.
And so I think this was very important, or this is something very important when you grow up, that you get models to see possibility of who you can become.
Wonderful.
And this moment, like this searching for who am I in this group of men, was something, I think maybe a lot of other people as well have to do, a lot of men as well has to do, have to do, but I had something special with the sexuality.
Okay.
And then further on, I went, I wanted to become a father as a gay man, and I was blessed that there was a couple of lesbians who I knew from a long time, and I felt safe and secure. So I became a father, and we became parents, and now we have 3 kids. And in this moment, one more time, I had to think a lot about me as a man, as a gay man in the society, becoming a father. So like all these role models to figure out what I really want to be and what the society think about these rules and this being a man, being a gay man, being father, brought me to that moment that I felt that I had to think a lot about men's and becoming an identity of being a man.
Yeah.
So this was all the story before, and during all my social work, I always wanted to. I made a further education working with boys, like more like in a fighting way, and in this afterward, I did see this further education from the SCMG, Swiss Schweizerisches Institut für Männer- und Geschlechterfragen,
Yeah.
who made this further education about man and masculinity. And this was very pushing forward for me because I felt I learned a lot about the theory and all this knowledge about a society and what masculinity is in this society. And out of this, I enforced myself with a friend to build a men's circle group.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah. So it's a bit the story behind that men's circle, which was very important for me as well.
Wonderful. So in this journey of like learning about masculinity, did you also learn about femininity, or was that rather a little bit less?
It's very important, and it's good that you asked this question because it's very important when you talk about masculinity and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You also have to tell from which point of view you look at the things. There are a lot of masculinity thinking groups who are more backwarded, wanting to reinforce the white masculinity idea of the concept of the man
Yeah.
from where we come.
Yeah.
And so the Männer.ch, where I made this further education, is a group where we support, we are pro-feminine.
Yeah.
And, we try to enforce masculinity and men's to become also part of the process of becoming equal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's very important to say that I think in a pro-feminine way that we in this education we learned we had more the focus about the man studies and what we already learned until now. So we have to know, like, feminine studies have been long time ago. They started much earlier than the studies about fathers, for example, or something. So, but in this education, we looked especially at the education about men's and masculinity.
Yeah.
But always in contact with the feminine side. So it's very important to know that. But there are, I think it's also very important that we also make ourselves powerful and aware about the jobs and the things we have to do as men. So we also have to look at our little universe and not just think about or talk about the women's.
It's very, very interesting. Yeah. So let's go more into towards men's circles. So I want to ask you, why are men's circles or are men's circles in today's society important? What do you think about that?
I have to say I haven't been in men's circles before.
Mhm.
So I think my first moment of getting in touch with this, what makes it when you be just with men or with the same sex. And it's also important for me to say, when I speak men's, I say it with this gender star as well, like everyone who feels like being a man is also included. That when you are in a group, the first time
Yeah,
the
please.
first time when I became in contact with this kind of feeling was in this Kampfspiele when I learned
When you're
to work
fighting with men, yep.
with the boys,
Yep, with boys.
especially with the boys, and I felt like when you have this moment where the kids, the boys are fighting, the game is in the focus and in the center,
Yeah.
and they lose the surrounding, that they
Yeah.
lose everything what is around. They just look at the focus and they
Yeah.
are in the game and totally included in this play moment. Then there is coming a very magical moment
Yeah.
where I felt there is no competition anymore,
Yeah.
no night armaments anymore, just the little boys as human are fighting
Yeah.
and playing together. And
Play
that's,
fight. Yeah, exactly.
yeah. So that's very beautiful. And this was the first moment I get in contact with something magical.
Yeah.
And then during this education, I also had this moment where I felt very supported by men. Most of the time, I didn't have this kind of feeling, this supporting feeling. I don't know why. Maybe that's very special in my way, in my life. But I missed that a bit. And in this education where we just have been men together, there was something special. And
Yeah.
so I think that's why I wanted to make these men's circles. I started with that group because I felt I want to bring that matching in my daily life a bit more. And yeah, that's why I think it's very important to have men's circles.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say we need it's like they are necessary, because right now I don't lead a man group and I don't go to man groups right now. But I think they are very helpful, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think they're very helpful because they're deepening the conversation, they're deepening the moment of becoming open, and they're deepening a lot of awareness in every one of the person who is a part of the group.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Great.
Yeah.
I liked what you said about the star. Everybody that feels like a man is welcome to go in there.
Yeah.
Do you think like if you would lead a woman, if you would be a woman, would you say the same thing, like creating women's circles with like a star, like that everybody that feels like a woman can go to the women's circles?
I think it would be helpful, but I think it's always depending on the person who is leading the circle.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, also when we talk about men's circles, there are so many men's circles and so many different kind of ways how you make these men's circles, as men's circles are, men are doing circles. So I think the one is doing more an active part. Some are doing going to the four important rules, like the fighter or the king or the magic person. Like they are doing different kind of things. Some are more active, fighting, playing, or some of the men groups are just learning to care about themselves, doing yoga or breathing or awareness, education, things like that. So I think it depends what's the center of these men's circles
Yeah.
and who
Yeah.
is doing the men's circle. But for sure, I think in our to open up always again and more and more and more, it also needs to bring the gender star in the discussion, to
Yeah.
become aware about that masculinity is an identity and not it's not the sex.
Yeah.
It's the identity who has to become the
Wonderful.
focus.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And so how I see women and men space when men circles is like a safe space. Do you also think like that, or do you think a little bit different?
It is a safe space when you open a group and you just say the men are coming together. It makes just that is something special. Because I think I always felt when there would be just this moment of someone would looking inside, maybe it would bring this irritation that maybe you are not safe. So when you close a room and say we are now together and we bring
Yeah.
we have 2 hours, or let's say 3 hours, or we have a day, and
Yeah.
we are together during that day, it makes something safe.
Yeah.
And then is the rest is the way we are treating each other, the rules of how you are coming together. What are the rules when we are together? The rules that we accept each other, that we accept the variety of who we are, that we talk about, that everything what we talk here inside will stay here inside, and we don't go and bring it further out and talk with others about
Yeah.
that. So it's something, it's about the rules and about the idea and the spirit you're bringing into this kind of circles. And then there are safe places. And only when there are safe places, I think, then the people are feeling safe in these moments. Then I think they are starting to open up themselves. And when you open up yourself, then I think there is the knowledge. Then you can do further steps, or you can be becoming aware of something which until now you haven't seen the same way. So I think it needs a safe space, and that's also the difference between being outside in a bar and drinking a beer with someone.
Yeah.
As long as you are in a safe space and place and you feel safe, then you are, I think, then you can become more yourself. And when you're more yourself, you talk more about everything, the funny thing, but also the sad thing, and
Yeah.
the stuff you're fearing or whatever.
Great.
Yeah.
And you're going really, really quickly through my questions that I have. So
I'm sorry.
no, don't worry, don't worry. But I have my cards here written, and you're like answering one question, and then as you answered that question, you have been answering like my other cards already. So we're quickly jumping over. But still, I want to maybe deepen a little bit the conversation with this question once more. I kind of like want to poke you a little bit. Isn't it enough to have like different sport clubs instead of like man circles? Like sport clubs where men come together and they going to grab a drink after. Of course, you already talked about it, but still, let's elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah. I think it's very important to have these sport clubs, and I see them as a very joyful and energetic something. I think they are good. If whatever it is. I always would say, when you care about your body, when you do sport, when you try to make yourself aware and fit in your body, it's good, and that's also something very nice and very important for men. I think it's important for all of us, for all humans. But I very often, I just can talk about me. When I can't do sport, I feel after a week or two, I feel a bit muddy and moody, and I need to do sport to also become relaxed in my head. So I think it's very important. But when we see it as when we have the focus of masculinity and changing masculinity towards more equality between women's and men's, then I think it's not the right place. It's something good for the body, but not for masculinity. I would even say it's more backwarded. These sport groups, like a lot of you, when you just asked the question, you started to make like that. And I think in the end, like, it's not that magic like men's circles are. You can do sport and it's good for your body and you have good feelings with men's, but it's not about deepening your inner being or what you want to become. I think it's especially in football groups or very classic sports, they are holding us back in going forward, in bringing a variety of who I can be as a man. So I think sport clubs are going backward, are holding us back in these two positions. Like we have this very masculine, more the macho man, loud speaking or active being man's, and at the other hand you have this very quiet man's who are not saying a lot, but you also can't really, you don't know about them a lot. So these are the 2 points of masculinity in the world, which are very accepted, and all the colors in between are more difficult to find your own identity and become powerful and self-secure in, I can be that funny, or I can be that queerly or colorful, whatever.
Okay.
Special.
Yeah.
And so I think sports clubs are good, but in another, they are helping in another way of your Gesundheit, your
body, your health, your physical health. So Faruko,
and this moment of going and drinking a beer together, it's also, maybe you then talk with someone about something which is arguing you or which is bothering you or which is making you sad, whatever. And for sure this is something nice, and that's why we are going out and we drink something, or we go with a friend for a drink, for a beer. It helps us to be connected with others. And it's also very, of course, very often very helpful, because when you're out with a friend of you and you are close with each other and you are in trust with each other, then you can talk about yourself as well. But there is the other point, which is very important, that I think, and this is, I always thought I'm not the typical man that like how he is subscribed in a book. But when I made this education from the SMG, I did face myself a lot in these theories, like that we know that women's talk much quicker about the problem than men's, and it's about, like, men's are needing 36 months when you look at the studies to ask for help, to ask someone for help. In the meantime, women's need 6 months. So it has a lot to do with this identity and this idea that I have a problem and this problem belongs to me and it's because of me, that problem. So I need to solve it as well by myself. And this is a bit a hero identity, not? It's my problem, I solve it by myself. And the more I go into it and the less I can solve it, the more I become maybe stressed. And
Yeah.
the more I become, men are becoming stressed, the more they are running faster, doing more, getting more, going, becoming more active,
Yeah.
instead of calming down, going for a think about, and
And asking for
that's
help.
asking for help.
Yep.
And so that's also one explanation why men are more in this burnout
Yeah.
situation,
Yeah.
because they are in these struggling moments. They don't have the potential and the, the, the skills to help themselves when they are in troubles.
Yeah.
In,
May I ask something there right now? Isn't that exactly the need for man circles that you're describing right now? Isn't that like, oh yeah, we need man circle because mans don't ask for help directly.
this is one point why.
Yeah.
And I think it's also that we are not so connected with our emotions.
Yeah.
We say that they are spilled. The access to the emotions is spilled. So you can't really, we have the emotions, but the access to the
Yeah.
emotions
I
are,
feel like this, yes.
yeah. And I think we all are very often like that. And we as men are very often like that. And then we treat constantly, when we do feel something or when we do have something, we have this
Blockheads or a
yeah,
wall.
blockades, a wall, or we just do these alternative behaviors.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I go for a run, or I go for a drink, or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. Or I'd say, oh, this has nothing to do with me. It's all the other person.
Yeah, very
So,
interesting.
yeah. So, and because of that, because of this not being connected with the emotion, it's also helpful to have man circles. There are a lot of reasons why I think it's helpful. One is the reason what you told before, like this, that helping, asking for help
Yeah.
is not so easy.
Yeah.
And the other is that we are not so connected with the emotions.
Yeah. And we kind of override it with like alternate behaviors, as you said.
Yeah, yeah. And so the for example, when you are in man groups and someone is talking about something, and then you ask the other, what do you feel? What pictures are coming up? Then we can help each other also in maybe becoming aware about the deeper feeling inside of us,
Yeah.
which is then helpful. And so we can mirroring each other,
Yeah.
or we can help to talk about the feeling, about fear, or not, like talking about anger is very easy for us, but to talking about fear or anxiety or feeling lonely, sadness,
Yeah.
it's very difficult in the society to talk as men about that.
Yeah.
So in circles, it can be a safe place. And so you can talk about it, and then you feel how wonderful it is to talk about. And
Yeah.
me as a person who can watch, I always felt it's very, I can say that as a gamer, I felt it is very sexy to see men in this vulnerability.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
so I think these are reasons why I think men's circles are helpful.
that's amazing. Thank you for sharing. This is so beautiful. I want to. Yeah, now I just lost the thought train, so unfortunate. But let's go to something else. Um, I wanted to ask you, what could be some reason that men don't wish to go to men's circles? Are they afraid, or are they maybe troubled that there are maybe gay men, or I don't know.
I don't know too. No, I don't know too. It's not right. I do have ideas, and I think it's when during this time I did this men's circles, it wasn't really successful, huh?
Yeah,
In the way of how we think success.
yeah,
Like we have been, the most of the time we have been 3 or 2 or 5 or 4 people meant together.
Yeah.
So the most of the time I paid more for the room than I did get from the others.
Yeah.
But for myself, I felt the most important outcome
Yeah.
was that I learned to self secure myself, to enforce myself as a gay man to lead a men's circle.
Yeah. Okay.
In the masculinity law, there is like gay men's very accepted, but they are not on the. If you see it in a range, they are like far away.
Yeah.
They are not the typical masculinity picture.
Yeah.
They are not giving the typical masculinity picture. So to enforce myself as a gay man to lead men's circles have been the most incredible step for myself.
Awesome.
To see me very equal. Yeah, that's very awesome. And I think that's what made myself, which for me, it was very important, this men's circle.
Yeah.
And when I now want to ask you questions why I explained that, I think every time before a men's circle, I know I was I was in charge. So I think of course I was maybe more nervous, or I had more thoughts about it. I knew every time when someone was sich angemeldet.
Registered themselves.
Registered themselves. I knew that it started already, the thoughts in their mind and head.
Yeah.
So it made something with all of us a bit. We all have been a bit nervous, also because it was maybe new the first time, but it's like this being aware that you maybe go to a place where you can't just grab on a behavior that you have been used so often. So you maybe feel that there is the challenge of something new.
Yeah.
And that's the funny thing, why it is like that. I mean, when you talk about going out with someone for a drink or go to a football group, you will not be that nervous.
Yeah.
You just go. I mean, when you go the first time, maybe, but then you just go, because there are these ordinary behavior rules where all of us do know, and so we feel a bit safer. But when we go in man groups, you maybe think, oh, maybe there is something uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, it has the idea of this man group is also about support group or a self-care group. And this makes also the people afraid to go to self-care groups, maybe.
That's sad in one way, because I think like there are so many self-help books around where you are not really afraid, and men are thinking all about like, oh, how can I grow? How can I be bigger? How can I whatever, be better, the best version of myself? And it's kind of like strange that men don't think of going into gatherings of men coming together and talking about helping each other out, how they can grow together. Strange.
I think, it's not so strange then when you go deeper, because I think the most part of when men are in society, it's a competition.
Yeah.
And I think this is the point. Then you have these competitions, and competitions are always challenging. And then you go to a men's circle group, and what kind of competition do you have? So before you get in touch with this magic moment that there is no competition anymore, you feel afraid.
Yeah, I know.
And when you then be in this touch with this magic moment, then you maybe are afraid that this is something gay, and gay I don't want to be in that society. Still in 2020, it's to say, it's this picture.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm as a social worker in a school, I see how every little bad word is, this is a gay pencil, this is a gay
Yeah, this is stupid.
homework, whatever. It's this
Yeah,
bashing word of that it's a bad. It's this back still
yeah,
up a dissing word
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
dissing picture behind, and so it's very difficult for men to. That's why I think it's so hard for our society to become a man, that we men are becoming more colorful, because every step we are going out of these two parts of masculinity is the fear that we are becoming or named as a gay person or named as homosexual. So I think there is a big line. When you cross it, it needs strength and power. And
Yeah, it's very very insightful. Thank you for sharing this. We need to.
I hope I can explain it in
No,
English.
it's good. It's good. We understand. I understand you.
Okay.
We understand you definitely. Thank you so much for your struggle with your English words. We are honoring that. Um, yeah, it's like right now we are coming to this point of competition, and it's not a competition, men coming together. It shouldn't be a competition like in sports. And it doesn't need to be like in a bar, like you need to be like the one that talks all the time or something like that, or the one that leads the conversation. Everybody is invited into the circle and has the right to speak, right? And share what they want to share.
Yeah, and they have also the right to not share, to just be,
Yes.
and
Yes.
to just listen, and to, I mean, very often I think that's the wonderful stuff in men's circle as well. We are the most, I think we all learn the most from observing the surrounding. And when we are in men's circles, we can observe other men. How are they behave? Why? What are they talking about? What is their what are they troubling with? And I can see myself in the others, and that is also very helpful. So I can also go to men's circles without even saying a word.
Yeah. Um. Good. I need to quickly check with my questions here, so give me a little moment.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah. So let's go into a little bit more of like how does a man's circle look like? So what do you do in a man's circles? How do you come together? In your kind of like how you did it. I know
Yeah.
I've been participating in one like online event together with you. I know how a little bit how it works. Can you explain a little bit more? How does a man's circle look like for people that have never been to it and maybe like making a fire in the woods or something like that? I'm not sure.
Yeah. I think what I did say before, there are many different men who are leading men's circles, and they are all doing have their own speciality. And so I think you are, when you want to do a men's circle, you search for what is your energy for, and what in what are you good. And I think this would be the topic you have to choose. And so I have chosen dancing. I think I always think it's very helpful when men are first in movement, like we have to do something. The first 2-3 times I made meditation, which is also nice, like a meditation, and then you let all the things gone from the day, the daily stuff, daily work, and then you become totally aware about where you are now. But I think for men it's very important, or it's helpful if you have the movement. And so I made a little circle, a little dance circle, from quiet to more active, to be wild, and to go back to the quietness again.
Cool.
Just that you feel yourself, that you can breathe, that you can loosen yourself's head and thoughts and whatever, and that you can get relaxed. And this was very helpful. And then we have been most of the time sitting together, and we talked about different things. So it could be that we talked about fear.
Yeah.
When did you be in contact with fear the last time? Or that we talked about your father or your mother. What is your contact to your father or your mother, and why it is like that? What is it for you that it was like that? What would you like to change? Things like that.
Yeah.
Or who are you in your surrounding at your job as a man? What would you wish for? So this could have been questions. And very often it also was like an open moment, that when someone had something going on in his life, or when something was special in the week, that this topic could take place and we did share about. And then the moment of sharing was different. I think there are a variety of possibilities how you can go and talk about things. When you are a little group, it's nice to share. Someone is in the middle and is talking, or you can do it just in a duo group, like the two are coming together, which is also very helpful. And I always want to give rules. What are we doing? To give times, so that you have somehow
Yep.
yeah,
A frame. A
a
frame.
frame where you feel safe, and where it also forces you to go forward. And something I always loved a lot is, or I still do love, is like that someone has 15 minutes, for example, and the other is just listening,
Yeah.
not asking any question, is just listening. And
Yeah.
this is something very wonderful, because then you maybe become quiet because you don't have anything to say anymore. Then you become quiet, and all of a sudden it pops up something, a new thought, only because if you gave yourself time and someone is here with you and giving you the time to think, or to become aware of your thoughts, or to be with yourself.
Good.
And so this is very lovely, and I think this was also very deepening the conversations.
Yeah. 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 Good. Thank you for sharing that. Let's come now a little bit back from the men's circles, and let's talk about a little bit about masculinity and femininity, because we have been talking about in the last podcast about masculinity and femininity. We want to reconnect with that again. Of course, it's also present in men's circles. In your opinion, what is the biggest issue within masculinity and femininity in today's world? It's a big question. Maybe you want to find some words if you can.
The big issue.
Yeah, the big issue within masculinity and femininity. Or is there a big issue, if there is a big issue?
There are big issues, otherwise it would have been all very so much easier. I think, I don't know, I tried to explain it, or I tried to explain one issue. It's
Yeah,
just
sure,
one
sure.
little, but it's, I think, one important, which I would love to have more, that this issue is taking more place in the conversation, in
Yes.
this equality conversation.
Yeah.
And one thing is like our kids.
Yeah.
That when you have kids, then we see that we are a lot of very forward-going men and women are all of a sudden very in these conservative rules again.
Yeah.
Like the men are going to bring the money and working 100%, and the women are doing all the care
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, very sad, but it's the way it works. And in the moment, still, even when there is change going on, I love the change which is going on. And I think I'm very often I don't have the patience and the calmness to see that there is change and it needs time for a change. I just did listen on Swiss radio a podcast, or that there is a film coming out about the rule changing from women's in the French in this last year. So I want to see that film. I can't say what's the name of the film, but it's something. It's very like there you can see. Yeah, in the last 40, 50, 60 years, they have changed a lot the rules and the models we have here
Yeah.
around in the Western world.
Yeah.
But something I think we don't really talk about is that women's and mothers do have a lot of power over the kids. And this power, we also call it maternal gatekeeping, is something we should talk more in the society.
Yeah.
I would love when women's more talk about that with other women's, but also men's and fathers and father and mother is talking about more about that. So it's the meaning, even when the men want to change something in the rule of being a father,
Yeah.
it's very difficult because
Yeah.
men as fathers are not very self-secure, because the self-security, the society are not giving us so much self-secureness.
Yeah.
What it means to be a good father.
Uh-huh.
There is more, in the moment, maybe more unsecureness. There are so many things you have to do, but you have no rule models.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because our fathers, the most of our fathers had been out during the whole day and they
Exactly.
have been
Yeah.
working.
Yeah.
So this changing, that we can change something, it's difficult, especially for men. And so even when a man would like to be more equal in the care part, caring about the kid, caring about the home place, caring about cooking, caring about the mental load. They are talking right now about the mental load when you have a family, about to think about everything what it needs to be safe and to be comfortable with everything. Then it also needs that the mother is giving the space,
Yeah.
that he can take the place.
Yeah.
And it needs that the mothers are giving the space for the way he is doing it. So a nice picture is when I am the father and I am cooking, then the mother has to accept that I maybe are cooking ravioli bibs.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's also good for my kids. They love it, and
Yeah.
it's the way I love it. And I can clean up the kitchen very easily then.
Yeah.
So we men are doing the stuff in a different ways, like women are doing the stuff in different ways,
Yeah.
and that's beautiful. That's good. That's very good for our kids when they learn the variety of to cope with the different things. So it would be helpful when we could talk more about these different spaces and places, and that the mothers, especially, are giving this power they do have in being the closest for the kids.
Yeah.
And share with the men and fathers.
Great. Yeah. So
this is for me the most important topic in the moment.
Okay, that's good.
And I think when we talk about that, when we start talking about that, very often when you talk about that, there is this wall of no, men are just not wanting. There's a lot of power then inside. But when you start building a bridge with this topic, then I think it could be a big effort in all the equality themes.
Yeah.
Because I think there is something very special in it, in that point.
Yeah, okay. I see. Good. So cooking something easy as man, for example, and tidying up easily the kitchen instead of cooking a big meal, right? Good. Dear friends in the chat. If
I
yeah,
love to cook something bigger. It's not that all men like ravioli from the books, but it's just an idea. One example.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Dear friends in the chat, if you like to ask any questions to Martin right now and to me, feel free to write it in the chat. We have now a little time slot for some questions. And yeah, we're just going on with the next question right here that I have prepared here. It's about gender roles right here, right now. And do you think in a relationship, does there need to be a balance between masculinity and femininity? Is there a balance going on between masculinity? So one person is rather masculine, another person is rather feminine, and these people can live together and can form a unity. Is this like a thing, or do you think like gender roles are outdated altogether? What is your opinion about that?
I think as long as we say that something is more masculine and some behavior is more feminine, it needs masculine and feminine
Yeah.
in the in the in the in when people are coming together. But it's only because we name it or frame it like that.
Yeah. How would
I
you name it or frame it?
Let's figure out some new words. I don't know. I really don't know it. I think that's the big point of we don't have words for it.
Yeah.
We have just these two parts, this picture inside. But I can say as a gay couple that I'm not a woman and I'm not a man. I have this women's part in myself, and I do also have this men's side parts in
Yeah.
myself. So
Yeah.
I'm always a bit concerned about questions: who is more the women in your relationship?
Yeah.
And I think it's just a stupid question, because
Yeah.
I am not a woman or the other is not a man. It's just about we have different behavior, and when we become more who we are, then we have these different colors inside. Then we see these different colors we do have. And then I would love more that we can bring colorful all our colors in our relationship. So, and it doesn't need masculinity and femininity. It needs the different, the variety. It needs the moment of having something equal together and being different. This is what we need.
Okay.
And I think it needs that you have been seen from your partner and your partner see you. So, or you see your partner and you have been seen from your partner. This is important, I think.
Okay. So we have a question coming up from Pumpkin Panda first. It's so what is your favorite thing or experience with Man's Circle? Maybe you have an experience dating back, maybe as well, a little story.
Yeah, I just can say I think it's the magic moment.
Yeah.
It's not about this moment where we had this and this situation. It's constantly that after a Man's Circle, I felt a bit magic.
Okay, that's good. Thank you for that answer.
That I went out to the street, and then I felt, I'm back to the ordinary world.
Yeah.
But there is something inside of me, which is a wonderful secret or a wonderful thing or a wonderful. I feel touched or whatever.
Yeah. We already talked about that. We just wanted to refresh it one more time. Repeating it 3 times, and then the listeners will repeat it. Also kind of have them that ingrained.
It's the magic.
Good. So, your cup of yoga also asks something. So, how do you find other men interpret your views of being more open with your emotions and mental health? What is the best way to support men when they find it hard to talk about these issues? So emotions and mental health. Should I repeat it a little bit again, or
Yeah.
just repeat the
Yeah.
first question?
Yeah, the first question.
How do you find other men interpret your views of being more open with your emotions and mental health?
So what they did say, or how do I find other?
Yeah, yeah, how do they look at you as you're more connected with your emotions and with your mental health? So I think your cup of yoga thinks you're more open to your emotions and your mental health, right? And so she wants to know what kind of view other men have when they look at you, that you're like connected more towards your emotion and your mental health. Do you
I wouldn't
understand?
say, yeah,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't say I'm more connected with my emotions than
Okay.
others.
Okay.
There is not. I'm I'm always surprised about when I talk with people about something which is bothering me or whatever,
Yeah.
that I didn't came to that clue that we had afterwards. So
Yeah.
I'm also very often walking in the dark, or
Yeah.
I'm also had to have all my Abwehrmechanismen.
Yeah.
My
Defensive mechanisms. Yeah.
yeah. So I think this is a yeah.
Great. Yeah.
I no,
Yeah. Not.
I don't feel there a different, not anymore. The longer I'm forcing myself contact with other men, being in contact with other men, it's that I see that there is no difference.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
for sure, I do have skills, like I do have possibilities to help or to see or to talk about it. But it's not that I think that I'm different. And the others are not mirroring that back to me, like questioning that. It's
Yeah. Okay.
and to like the other thing is when you talk with others, with other men, what could be helpful to talk about feelings is to go in your own feelings and then to mirror back, oh, I do feel now like that, is it the same you feel, like to mirror back
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
you feel. This
Yeah.
is very helpful, I think.
Yeah.
Only to give an opportunity to choose.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is kind of like the second, you answered right now the second question, right? That was there. What is the best way to support men when they find it hard to talk about these issues? Exactly.
Yeah.
Mirroring
I think it's
back.
about that, mirroring back the feelings. Because
Thank
there
you.
is no, there is this is the spilled access to the feelings. So it needs to give words, and when we become words, we also can feel them. Yeah, now I can maybe change my point of view to a feeling, because I become another variety of choosing. So I think this helps a lot to mirror back your own feelings, what you become when you listen to the other.
Good. Thank you for that answer. I think, dear friends, in the chat, we are going to close it very, very soon, right here, right now, the discussion. I'm very, very grateful that you have been here, Martin.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's a pleasure. I was actually waiting for your call.
Cool.
No, you told me once that you want to invite, and it was a pleasure. I was
That's amazing. We're not quite finished, so dear friends, especially Jamie, if you have another question, Pumpkin Planner, you can come in and talk with us after the chat in the Discord. Everybody here right now listening in, please come in and say hi, say thank you if you wish. We would be very, very grateful for that. I want to ask you, is there a way that people can find you in the internet and connect with you a little bit if they want to?
Yeah, like I do have this the webpage, mannkreis.ch.
Yeah, exactly. I will write that in the chat and I will advertise it.
Yeah. And so there is my number, and they can write. And yeah, I mean, on
That's
Facebook or whatever.
okay. On Facebook as well. You will find him there. Good. Do you have any kind of conclusion you want to give, like the listener, something else? Or do you think it's all right with like the magic?
I think it's all right. I think it's very, we are, very often I do think, oh, there is nothing going forward. And right now I'm in a different kind of mood.
Yeah.
I see changes going on, and I think it's up on us to make that changes every day and to be a part of it.
Yeah.
In this direction you want to that the change is going to. So I think it's lovely that you're doing what you are doing.
Thank you.
And to share this caring, helped stuff more, becoming more aware. It's wonderful that you are going in these discussions.
Thank you.
And yeah, so I hope we can share and we can sit together, and
Definitely.
I hope we can go for dancing again.
That would be amazing. Yeah. Definitely. And you know, I feel kind of inspired to kind of do something, do also like a man circle, create a man circle, like online maybe, like with friends, gathering friends together, and maybe just if 5, 4, 3, 2 people doesn't really matter. You know, I'm kind of feeling inspired to do that right now. So thank you for that. So dear friends, feel free to join the Discord channel. We will be going to the Sunshine chat very, very soon. So Sunshine voice channel very, very soon. And next to that, this was Health Skill Podcast. We are going weekly online. We're weekly live. And let's level up our health skill together. And next to that, now I kind of messed it up a little bit. But it doesn't matter. Next week, we are leveling up our meditation skill together with Your Cup of Yoga. She was also here in the chat today. Thank you for that. We will be online the 6th, 11th, the 6th of November. And it's a Friday at 7 Central European time. Tune in live at www.moment.yoga/Twitch, available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. This was Health Skill Podcast. We are leveling up your health skill.